Hi again, and welcome to the Recharge Your Marriage Show, where nothing is taboo and nothing is off limits for helping you to refresh, reconnect, and reignite your relationship. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Zev Halpern. Here's something to get the show off to a good start. Imagine if your marriage was a video game. Yes, your marriage, the video game. What would it look like if you can even imagine it? Can't seem to get your arms around that, huh? You're not alone for sure. And we can revisit that one later in the show, but it's certainly something to think about. We have an exciting show tonight and a strong marriage panel. Our marriage panel guests include Gail Crowder, relationship and lifestyle expert and author; David Bullitt, divorce attorney and author; Dr. Melanie Riccardi, sex therapist. We'll be digging deep into relationship topics that you've told us you want to hear more about during the marriage panel. We're talking marriage, happy and not so happy. Marriage throws us all for a loop, and sometimes we might wonder how we ever found each other. When we couple up for marriage, I think it's safe to say we all bring baggage and unique surprises, causing our spouses confusion, conflict, and newfound joy as well. We always value your point of view, so let us know what's on your mind and what relationship challenges you want us to focus on. Send your comments directly to zev@rechargeyourmarriagenow.com. Please sit back, chillax, open your heart and mind, and consider some ways you can recharge and rekindle your marriage. Here's today's couple's FYI. Every day in our cyber world, we spend time trying to figure out why our devices aren't working. We spend hours talking to cyber guru friends or distant help desks trying to connect our devices. Have you rebooted your computer is often what we hear, and sometimes just doing that allows us to pursue the latest cyber bright and shiny gadget for our electronic consumption. Relationships and marriages need maintenance, and sometimes a simple reboot can just connect us back to civility, reduction in anger, which allows us to mutually address our shortcomings and needs. Other times, it's just not that simple. The relationship reboot is ineffective, and we return to the same old, sinking our relationship to the depths, with couples retreating to their safe zones for self-soothing at best, or hurling angry, displaced comments at their spouse we mostly regret. So what's the point? Challenges and changes require input. New parts that have lost their defensive value can be replaced. And the scariest tool of all, oh my God, not another relationship discussion. You know what happens when two unhappy people who know they are each right try to have a relationship discussion. Communication breakdown, attitude at the very least. If being right all the time only works to distance you, how can you both be right all the time? Is there a prize for being right at your relationship's expense? Perhaps a good idea would be try to listen, not to react, and let your spouse know you heard them, even if you still think you're right, which you probably do. That might turn out to be amazing. So maybe hold the opinion and give listening a try. Take a look at this, and we'll be right back to introduce you to tonight's marriage panel. Welcome back. One quick thing before I introduce the marriage panel. After the show, please log on to rechargeyourmarriagenow.com to claim free marriage resources available for you to download. You won't be disappointed. And now, let's meet tonight's marriage panel. Gail Crowder is a relationship lifestyle expert, author, consultant, stylist, a wife of 29 years, mother of 2, and founder and president of Bringing Back the Sexy. BSB is a conference dedicated to the spiritual and sexual enhancement of marriage. Gail has appeared on dozens of TV and radio shows and is a fantastic resource. She's been responsible for spicing up many relationships and continues to change lives every day. Her books include Bringing Sexy Back to Your Marriage and my favorite, Keep Your Legs Open. Good idea. David Bullitt, among the D.C. area's top divorce lawyers by both Washingtonian and Bethesda magazines, a partner with the law firm of Joseph, Greenwald, and Lake in Rockville. David Bullitt has been married for 30 years and raised 4 daughters here in Montgomery County. He's also a published fiction author with his second novel, Because I Had To, published late January 2017 and doing real well. Dr. Melanie Riccardi is a licensed psychologist and certified sex therapist. She's worked with diverse individuals of different races, ethnicities, religions, and sexual orientations in a variety of settings, including inpatient hospitals and outpatient clinics, as well as universities. She focuses on helping individuals and couples navigate the challenges faced when different aspects of their identity conflict with one another or themselves. So thanks so much for coming out tonight. This is a very strong panel, and I feel very lucky to have you all together.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks again. So I mentioned earlier about your show your marriage as a video game, and I was going to use that as the opening because I want people to think about that, what it might be like. I mean, is it going to be Mortal Kombat, or is it going to be, I don't know, whatever some of the other names are, or Dora, or Dora goes to who knows where. Dora takes a trip and they don't do anything, that kind of thing. Nothing happens and the vacation sucks, and that's the end of it. But imagine if people were seeing, what your video game of your marriage might look like. It might be scary, funny, hilarity, and again, kind of scary. Also, because I have such a strong panel, reached into the valise and took out a couple of very funny sex toys. This is Looney the Lion Ultra Vibrating Pleasure Ring, and he does light up or something like that.
He
right?
roars.
And this is Wicked Walrus. God only knows. He lights up, and does all kinds of funny things. And these are fantasy series cuffs, furry cuffs, which people, when I do salons, and Gail, you told me, people want these.
Oh, absolutely.
That they might go, no, I don't want to be, but
yes, they do.
But people do want them, I guess.
Yes, they do. They want to be.
Now, neither I or you are ashamed to say.
They want to be cuffed.
They it's kind of an interesting thing, but you can have fun, you can have sex, you can have fun, you can have missionary sex, you can also have fun. Spencer Gifts and all these other places that you go into are, the walls are filled with them right and left. So in this segment, I want to start out talking about marital exits. Now, marital exits are when you avoid being fully present with your spouse, and it comes from imago therapy, which is a kind of couples therapy. And there's a box, and it says all these different kinds of things like affairs, hobbies, running, poker, and on the corners, suicide, murder. What I'm saying? Like, these are very serious exits. But the point is, when is something a hobby? Because I've had people in my office who told me about their hobbies in front of their spouses, and they're running away. Like, I had one who was a cyclist. He couldn't go far enough from his house every day. I felt it wasn't just about cycling What do you think, Gail, about that?
I agree.
Exits.
I mean, I believe that social media has became a way for people to escape
Absolutely.
and be in the same room with you. The statistics say that most people that have some type of social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, or whatever, they're spending anywhere from 6 to 8 hours a day.
Incredible.
And most of that time, half of it is at work because they're, cheating.
Absolutely.
But then the other half is doing the time that they should be spending with their spouse and their families.
Right.
And so I believe that is one of the biggest culprits right now. And then also, like you said, adding a hobby. And I believe you should have some hobbies outside of your marriage, but I also believe that you should have some hobbies and some things that you do together as a couple. I truly believe that.
How about you, Melanie? What do you think?
And something else I've noticed in couples is that even projects around the house can be a way to escape. So, let's do the kitchen. They spend months and weeks doing the kitchen or the bathroom
They're
and
painting,
so on. And not spending
repainting.
any time together or much less having sex or any kind of physical or emotional intimacy. So it's a way to distract with a good excuse that they can tell other people, oh yeah, we've been really busy redoing the kitchen. But the reality is it's their escape from the relationship.
It's not like they end up having sex in the paint or something.
Yeah. Or in the pantry.
Or if they fall over, or in the pantry, according to Gail over here. How about you, David?
Well, the other thing people get immersed in is their children's lives. So if you're in a relationship in which you've been a while and you're not as connected as you used to be and things are spreading a little bit, you can focus on your children. Some people hyper-focus on their children so that when their children are gone or away or are gone for good and all of a sudden, we're in an empty nest, things don't look as good as they did, and I don't have my son or my daughter to take to soccer or to watch a game with or to do whatever with. And so people do center oftentimes on the kids. And that does, in my world, the divorce world, that does cause stresses both while they're intact and the kids are there and after the children leave, grow up and go out, go to college, get jobs, whatever it may be.
So clearly there's a lot of exits that people can take, and some of them it would be helpful to close.
Yes.
Some of them, but it's not so easy. They're not so easily closed.
No.
And so let's move on to levels of intimacy. There are many books about levels of intimacy, and people have written a lot about it. But I want to focus on something called carefree timelessness. Carefree time, basically spending time talking without an agenda, spending time being without an agenda. Now, how do you do that? How is that done? When the life is so busy and there's so much stuff going on.
I think you have to plan it. You have to schedule. I believe that if you are in a relationship and you're committed and you took your vows serious, right? I believe you have to schedule everything because, again, our lives are so busy and so jam-packed. But I will say this, couples who are struggling, they don't schedule it. They don't schedule time together. They don't schedule sex. They don't schedule anything. And I always tell the people that I'm able to coach and to guide that you have to schedule everything. Just as if you put your hair, your nails, and all the things that we do as women to look good for you guys, you have to schedule time with your husband.
So we're talking calendar.
Absolutely.
On the calendar.
On the calendar. And I'm not saying
do
in your phone. You have to put it on
our
paper.
Calendar.
Yes, so
like
he can
our
see
joint
it.
mutual.
Yes, so he can see it
calendar.
and we can see it. And I always tell them, make sure that you at least schedule sex and intimacy at least twice a week at the minimum. Because at the end of the day, we keep packing so much stuff on our plates. We say we're too tired. But we're not too tired to go get our hair done. We're not too tired to go get our nails done.
Oh, no, it's that sex night again. I'm tired. It says it on the calendar. How the hell am I going to do this?
But you know what? You will start taking things off of your plate because that needs to be your most important thing.
Because you've made it, a capital P for priority.
Absolutely.
I have a couple friends of ours who we've known for a while, and she decided, and they're both busy, but their kids are grown up and out. He's a hard worker, works late at night, goes to work early, travels and so forth. She said, Wednesday night's going to be our night. to
Yeah.
get together. And so Wednesday at about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, she's home and he comes in the front door.
Yeah.
And she's, what the hell are you doing home? He says, it's Wednesday night, I want to make sure I didn't miss
Ding,
anything.
ding, ding, alarm, you know.
And I agree with that. I totally agree with, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with it.
I just like you made an appointment to go to. You make an appointment for everything else. Your spouse should have a time with you.
That shouldn't take away from doing it
Off
off
the
the record,
record.
or off
That's
the
right,
cuff
just
or
you got
whatever.
planned, you
But
got off
but
the
yeah,
record,
but I agree
spontaneous,
with
you
Gail.
got-
I do.
That is.
And something else I recommend to couples is that rather than scheduling, let's say, twice a week and so on, if they can make 10 to 20 minutes every day to connect, so no computers, no phone, no TV, because these things are way to, again, exit and be distracted and so on. So people can be like, oh, we're connecting together, but the TV is on, or even music's playing, and they're not actually present with one
So
another.
again, we're
So
talking
undivided,
time
20
to-
minutes,
Yeah.
10 minutes
and
even
get
if,
it done.
yeah.
Yes.
If
All
you have
right.
10 minutes to go to the gas station and so on, you have 10 minutes every day
To
to
be with
sit
each
face
other,
to face
yeah,
with
to
each
look at
other.
All right, so let's move to the next phase, which is the sexpectations part of the show. So, what does he want? What does she want? What does a guy want from sex? What does a female want from sex? I know that's a general kind of thing, but there are some general things that we can talk about that can help couples kind of come to grips with this. What do you think, Gail?
First of all, she wants security. She wants to feel like she is the prettiest thing that hit his eyes, and she wants to feel loved. That's really what she wants. And if she feels those, at least one or two of those things, I think we fully connect better with you than if we don't feel one or two of those
So
things.
when these things aren't happening in relationships, it's kind of like a sexual conundrum. It's
It
like
really
it is
is.
not a good thing.
It
It's
really
like-
is. And I think both people have a part in making sure that they're able to connect in a way that's beyond just the physical. You have to really connect spiritually. You have to really feel secure, and you have to really talk for women. I know we really need to get out any of our insecurities, and we have to be reassured more often than men do. I just find that in my practice a lot.
What do men want, David?
Well, I think sometimes it depends, depending on where you are in your stage of life. So, as an 18 or 19-year-old young man, there's only one thing you want. Okay, that's all you want.
You want to get in. You want to get in there. You want to get in
It
there.
doesn't matter how you get it, where you get it, when you get it. That's all you want. As you get older, and you become maybe less secure, like you're talking about with women, in terms of how you look, in terms of how your partner perceives you, you also, I think, men also want to feel wanted. They want to feel like when you're walking to the shower, hey, she noticed me.
Yeah.
Yeah, or
a little
hey,
hug.
I did a good job. Men are big on performance.
Yes.
They're-
Absolutely.
It's a big
Yeah.
deal
But you
to
wanna
be
feel-
told that you know,
You want to
did
be
well.
noticed. I mean, at the basic level, men in longer term
Appreciated.
relationships, if you're talking about from a sexual perspective, you want to be noticed. You want to be wanted. It's the song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want you to want me. It couldn't be truer.
What do you think, Melanie, on both of them?
I'm a little torn with that perspective because I think, I see couples of so many ages and in many different stages in their relationship, and I think both men and women have similar insecurities, but they express them differently, and the roles can very much be interchangeable and reversed in terms of when somebody might want sex and what they need in order to have sex. Some men really, really do need to have some emotional intimacy or connection or some time together to experience, to want sex, or sometimes they need sex to feel connected and to want to experience emotional intimacy, and same for women. So generally, like there is a stereotype women want the connection and so on before sex. But I think many women also want to feel like they are needed and wanted and so on, and may actually want sex as a way to feel wanted and needed
Like we talked.
to connect.
We talked. But you know what? I didn't feel connected.
Yeah.
So, maybe I want something a little more so I can feel really connected.
Connected,
And it's
yeah.
kind of a thing. Moving to a different topic. What about sexual novocaine, when it just doesn't happen for whatever reason? People are pissed at each other. There's anger, abounds. There's made-up anger. People forgot why they're angry at each other to begin with, but they're angry, and it's sitting in there. So what do you do to get a couple started off of the sexual novocaine? How do you get it? How do you shake that? How do you get sexual procrastination, back on the board? How do you do it?
Well, for me in my practice, I get them to go back to where it first started, right? What made them get together in the first place, right? Forget all the bills, forget all where they are right now. What made them get together in the first place? And I always get them to do an exercise and say, name 10 things that you loved about your spouse before the babies, before whatever was going on. Just write that down, right? And then name 10 things that changed those good things. And because you have to go back to what brought them together in the first place.
So they're intimate memories.
Absolutely.
You're taking them back.
Absolutely.
Go
Absolutely.
back there, because there's some mighty exciting things that happen.
Yeah.
And, that's all you wanted to do was talk.
Talk, yes.
And be with each other and caress and be with and forget
and
about
so
TV
you have to
and football.
take them back, because it's easy to forget when you're stuck in this current situation. But usually when you take people back and say, oh my God, I love when she did this, and I love when she, whatever, when he did this. When you take them, that brings back good emotions. Not all.
Something they can have, something they can grab
onto. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think another way to reconnect, and I love those ideas, is specifically to bring in the fun and friendship component. So that's why bringing back the memories from the past and so on is so useful, but get them out there. Get them hiking, planning date nights, sharing romantic moments or just happy, fun moments, because that reduces the tension, the anger, the frustration, just bringing in as much positivity as you can into the relationship.
Any ideas?
None whatsoever.
Okay. So, just no problem at all. So let's move to this other topic of sex as a weapon.
Wow.
Now you're
Sex
talking.
as a weapon. This is something I know you can get your teeth into.
You can
David
start
Bullock.
with him.
Yeah, exactly. And people use it. Look, in life, we look for leverage. Leverage makes things happen. There's no question about it. This is big leverage. And unfortunately, it's somewhat clandestine. It kind of hides, in this thing day by day. It drips and goes slow, but it's being used. So some people don't know they're doing it. So for the people out there that don't know that they're using sex as a weapon to leverage their wife or husband, to get things, to not get things, to get away from me, whatever, what would you tell them, Gail?
First of all, I believe you know when you're doing it. I don't think I don't think you cannot know that you're doing it. And my thing is that I would tell people to stop doing it, because it's going to just continue to drive a wedge between you and your spouse. And so you know what you're doing, and that's not what sex was created for. And I would just tell them to be very aware, because you know you're doing it. Stop it.
How does it manifest? What's it look like?
It looks like someone showing up at my office at 9 o'clock in the morning to talk to me about not being happy and what my options are, okay? Using sex as a weapon, or in some motivational sense, in a relationship, a committed relationship. I can't speak for what happens in their therapeutic practices, but I can tell you those are the people that show up with regularity to see me and to see others that do the work that I do. Don't do it. If you love the person you're with, that is just going to make that little scratch worse and worse and worse and worse. Yeah. And that person who you're doing it to, if they have any pride, and that pride overtakes the love that they feel for you, they're looking down the street somewhere.
Absolutely.
And that is just not a way to keep a marriage, a relationship healthy.
And I think people sometimes just don't realize how negative it really is that idea of like, oh, hey, if you take my car to the repair shop, I will blow you tonight. So and it seems playful or like
Looking
a
for my keys.
game. Right, so at first it might become from a playful, fun, hey, let's be flirty with each other perspective. But if it continues in that vein, it can take too much of like an exchange payment type of
Yeah,
quality
it's
that
tender.
brings in
It's legal. It's
resentment.
tender.
Yeah.
You're paying for it. Why don't you pay for it?
Yes.
Because you're paying for it down.
Down
Take
the
it to the
road.
mechanic. Go shopping. Vacuum the house. Okay. Like
Yeah.
I'm a Superman.
Right.
Your car need any work? Or?
Actually, it does.
I mean, how do you stop? I mean, how do you?
Well, again, that's not my place. But I think these folks probably have more insight. But for me, you have to say to yourself, I think like Gail said, why did you come into this relationship to begin with? What did you like about this person? Focus, take a minute and remember that, and not what got you to this point where you are, hanging blowjobs out there, excuse me, or none, because something didn't happen a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 6
Right.
weeks ago.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the time we have for tonight. It's been so good. What a great panel. Really, pretty much what I thought. 3 fantastic people who really know their stuff, put out some great information that I know people will listen to, and they will lend an ear to some of this. So that's all the time we have tonight. Thanks again, Gail, David, and Melanie, for the over-the-top marriage panel discussion. To find out more about our marriage panel guests, here's how to contact them. To connect with Gail Crowder, to connect with David Bullitt, to connect with Dr. Melanie Riccardi. My consulting and coaching practice has allowed me the privilege and opportunity to work with couples with a wide array of relationship and marital challenges, including infidelity, communication, sexual concerns, both face-to-face in my Maryland office and virtually all over the world through my online relationship and marriage coaching practice. I invite you, find out more about how I can counsel you and coach your marriage through my signature program, rechargeyourmarriagenow.com. Get in touch with me and you can begin to enrich your marital communication skills. Be heard. Say what you need to say to each other. Resolve some of that raw marital conflict. Reconnect for a deeper, more fulfilling relationship. Spice up that marriage. Don't some of you want to feel the love again? I know if you went to Gail over here, you'd feel the love again for sure. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Please like my Facebook page. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, iHeartRadio, and Stitcher. And finally, and maybe I'll ask the panel to help me a bit, try some forgiveness if you can. Hug, kiss. Anything else we want to tell them out there?
Wives, keep your legs open.
Oh, keep your legs open.
Listen to her.
Yeah. Anything else?
Cuddle, cook together.
Cuddle. Have a little fun. Laugh a little. Do something novel together. That's a big deal. Say you're sorry sometimes. Very difficult, I know. Remember, we're the sum of our mistakes and our successes, so it's okay. We're only human. You can try again. I'm Zev Halpern. See you next time for Recharge Your Marriage.